This is the Big O Show. 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 This is the Big O Show.
There's just one place to celebrate a happy new model year. Acura of Pembroke Pines. Drive away in a new Integra. Only $299 a month at Acura of Pembroke Pines, the #1 volume Acura dealer.
When presenting an award to an employee, athlete, executive, or fantasy GM, make sure you call Orvieto's Awards and More. For 35 years, these custom award specialists have been providing plaques, trophies, custom framing, while providing state-of-the-art laser and computerized engraving, UV printing, and glass crystal etching. They do all their engraving and printing in-house for quality control. Call Charles at 305-949-8098 or visit them at orvietosawards.com. Orvieto's Awards and More, where recognition is rewarding.
Set the rhythm of your smart home with Sloman Shield Blink, the new integrated smart home platform that automates your life just the way you want it. Sloman Shield Blink, be the maestro of your own home.
There's just one place to celebrate a happy new model year. Acura of Pembroke Pines. Drive away in a new ADX. Only $299 a month at Acura of Pembroke Pines, the #1 volume Acura dealer.
After 40 years, the Big Cheese Miami is still producing great Italian food. They started in 1984. Since then, they've been winning awards while being voted the best inexpensive Italian restaurant in Miami. Visit them for great food, amazing service. Witness the decades of Cane's memories. The walls are like a Miami Hurricanes Hall of Fame. The Big Cheese delivers anything on its menu or party platter menu to your home, office, or even a park for a picnic. Located at 8080 Southwest 67th Avenue, Miami. Call 305-662-6855. TheBigCheeseMiami.com, where they serve large portions at family prices.
Welcome to Caneswear. New store, new items, same great experience. Family owned and operated since 2010, Caneswear has the latest merchandise from the Miami Hurricanes, Miami Dolphins, Florida Panthers, Inter Miami CF, and more. Come visit us at our store in Davie on University Drive, just south of 595, or online at caneswear.com. Caneswear, the spot Miami fans shop.
The Sultan's choice for excitement and a caravan of savings awaits at Toyota of Hollywood. Your wish for savings has been granted with discounts of up to $4,500. Take a magic carpet ride in a Toyota Corolla, not $24,000, $19,988. Step into our Grand Bazaar where you'll find epic savings at the #1 volume Toyota dealer, Toyota of Hollywood, on 441 between Hollywood Boulevard and Sheridan Street. Open till midnight.
For over 16 years, EJDconstruction.com has provided South Florida residents quality craftsmanship, accurate project management, and exceptional service. That's why EJDconstruction.com is an A-rated member of Angie's List and the Better Business Bureau. When you're looking for the right custom home builder for additions or home remodeling, please call my friend Eric at 305-433-4843. That's 305-433-4843 for EJDconstruction.com.
It starts every morning before the sun comes up. Projects are laid out. Plans are made. Equipment is fueled and loaded with inventory to handle all service requests. Orders are given to an army of skilled landscape maintenance professionals, certified arbor trimmers, irrigation technicians, and licensed pest management experts who fan out to communities and businesses all over South Florida. Experienced, on time, and dependable. Our staff is fully trained, licensed, and insured. Contact us by phone, email, social media, or through our website to answer all your landscape questions. We are Cutter's Edge. Total Landscape Solutions.
When it comes to your smile, confidence is so important. At Moody S Dental, they provide the services to get your smile back. This family-run practice prides itself by offering the latest technology to give your family the best experience possible. Moody S Dental has been in business for over 30 years with offices in Hialeah and Plantation. They accept most major dental insurances. They provide free new patient exams, 20% off select treatments. To qualify, please follow us on Instagram at moodys.dental. Moody S Dental has been in business for over 30 years. To schedule an appointment in Hialeah, call 305-821-0231 and Plantation 954-692-6825. From Invisaligns, dental implants, same-day crowns, and the preventative care and preservation to get your smile back. Go to moodysdental.com to find out more and tell them Big O sent you.
Price, service, selection. Get all this and more at South Florida's #1 loved Subaru store. Subaru of Pembroke Pines. Save today with our 3 ways to save. 0% financing, 0 down payment, or make no payments for 90 days. From Subaru of Pembroke Pines.
Hi, this is Jeff Welt from Welt & Rayom. Dan and I have been in business together for over 22 years. We're not your typical lawyers. When Dan's not working in the office, he's flying his stunt plane. When I'm not in the office, I'm either getting tattooed, bowling, riding a motorcycle, or going to concerts. We might not be your typical attorneys, but we are aggressive attorneys, and we'll do whatever it takes to get you what you deserve. Consultations are always free. Call us anytime, 24/7.
Welt & Rayom can help.
If you're looking to take your home or business to the next level, then RM Contractors can assist you. RM specializes in new residential turnkey, new commercial turnkey, home and office remodeling. Call them for free estimates. Serving all of South Florida, licensed and insured. Call Ray, 305-345-3649. You work hard to create the perfect atmosphere. You dream it, we'll build it. RM Contractors, 305-345-3649. Or Instagram at RMC Fisher Island.
There's just one place to celebrate a happy new model year. Acura of Pembroke Pines. Drive away in a new ZDX. Only $459 a month at Acura of Pembroke Pines, the #1 volume Acura dealer.
The viewpoint statements or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc. ownership, management, sponsors, or website. The game is final. Tua and the boys are in the locker room. Let's go over what happened in this game in our Dolphins post-game show with Big O. The post-game show is brought to you by Welt & Rayom, Acura of Pembroke Pines, Hialeah Park Casino, Toyota of Hollywood, RM Contractors. The stats are final. The insiders are ready. The platform is mastered by the one and only Sean Stanley. Now, let's find out what the Big O thinks about this matchup as we start our Dolphins post-game show. Here's Big O.
Oh, yes.
Yes, good afternoon, boys and girls. It's a victory Sunday. Not exactly how you want it, but in life, we have reminders, right? There are times that we make mistakes, and then in life, we get a reminder every once in a while. And it's great that today they played New Orleans, because those of us that are adults and have had some trips to New Orleans, let's say, well, sometimes we do things in New Orleans we might not normally do wherever else we live, right? You might have a tendency to light up a full flavor cigar, right? And then have a hurricane in 1 hour. And then, what was it? A grenade in the next hour, followed by another hurricane in the next hour, and then another grenade in the following hour. And then you end up in the Clover Leaf hamburger place that's like down the street where they make the burgers with the on the hubcaps, that the guy uses hubcaps to kind of, that place that you end up there like at 3 a.m, 4 a.m, going, yeah, I need a burger there. And then you wake up in the morning and you're walking the streets of New Orleans and it smells like piss from the night before. And you say to yourself, what am I doing? How did I think I could do this again? You know what I mean? And you made the mistake. And today's game was a reminder of those mistakes. Yeah. Well, let's go over the list. Did you think Mike McDaniel was a good coach? Well, today you got plenty of examples why he's a bad coach, right? I mean, team's unorganized. He still doesn't understand. You still should run more, especially when your quarterback's super mediocre today. All that kind of stuff. As a reminder that no matter what you were watching two terrible football teams. So that's why we saw the score 21-17, because it's two terrible football teams. It's a reminder for you, just in case. If you're sitting there going, hey, we've won 3 of 4, we won 2 in a row, now 3 in a row. Oh, we're full of ourselves. Well, just remember, you barely beat a 2-9 Saints team that you had to hang on for dear life. Okay, just, a little reminder. A reminder if you're sitting there going, oh, we're going to make a run and we're going to win every game and we're going to get into the playoffs. It's a reminder of who you really are, okay? Just that's what this game was. It was a reminder game, just in case you're getting full of yourselves and you're thinking that, I don't know if we're going to be a good football team or we're headed to the playoffs. Here's a reminder not to drink that much again. Not to get to that point to think that you can have any kind of confidence in this team, in the quarterback, in anything going on. And, listen, dude, I'm a Tua guy. I support Tua. Not that I would have picked him, but I support him because I think he can pass. But he is definitely, I don't know what the hell is going on with him this year, but I don't know if he's protecting himself. He's playing scared. I don't know. It's just, he's off. They won today in spite of Tua. They won today even at times in spite of Mike McDaniel. They won today because of the defense and Achane. God bless Devon Achane. And the defense. Give them all the credit, dude. Multiple turnovers, interceptions, sacks, key stops. I know they're not playing, anything exceptional, but still, they won the game today. Basically because they had to hang on for dear life because their offense can't do shit overall. And they had to settle for a bunch of field goals because, the quarterback's completely off. He hit a couple of passes, but not like he's supposed to. Not even close, dude. That play with said he was wide open. That it was the right call. The receiver was ahead of the defensive back. You keep throwing deep balls to Waddle when he's double covered. I mean, I tweeted it out during the game. And since I'm old, I've lived it all and I've seen it all. Okay. And I gave 3 different examples. Whether it's Oronde Gadsden, which obviously Waddle can never be Oronde Gadsden. Whether it's Mark Clayton or in between both, Chris Chambers. But all 3 of them had a skill, no matter what size they were. They were awesome in the air. They knew how to work their bodies in the air. They knew how to defend players in the air. They knew how to extend and meet the ball at its highest point. Waddle has never been that guy. If Waddle does not have separation, you do not throw any deep ball whatsoever. And at no point did Waddle have separation. You were throwing into a double cover. And he's done this several times. And the moron, by the way, on the sideline keeps calling it. So then you keep putting the guy in this position and he keeps throwing that stupid football. So it's just stupidity on top of stupidity on top of stupidity. And you don't know what kind of player you have. Jalen Waddle never has been, never will be, not in his life, not in his effing dreams, will he ever be a high point player. He's a space player. He has to get space to be effective. That's who he is. He's not up in the air fighting people for footballs. That's never been his game. Can he win one of those? Yeah, once in a blue freaking moon after you've thrown it 30 times, he might win one. Because, yeah, he's, chances are. Of course, the sun shines on every dog's ass every once in a while. But when you throw that ball with Chris Chambers, you have a good chance of coming down with it. When you throw it with Mark Clayton, you have a damn good chance of coming down with it. When you throw it to Oronde Gadsden, it's guaranteed. So those kind of players are different. I can throw down deep with those guys double covered because it's different. I'm going to get away with it sometimes. In fact, I'm going to get away with it a lot of times, or it'll end up on the ground because they're going to be the guys high pointing it and fighting for it. So either they catch it or it falls pretty much with those kind of guys. But with a Waddle, you're dead in the water since you're a Dolphin. Dead. It's a stupid throw. And they keep doing it over and over, which again shows you why McDaniel has no business. Again, a reminder game about, oh, you want to bring McDaniel back? Well, here, old man, here you see why you don't want to bring, this moron back, because he's an idiot. It's just, and listen, I'm making no excuses for Tua today. Tua did everything to keep New Orleans in the game today, basically. I have to say it that way, because he was that bad today. That's the way I look at the game today, that he did everything to keep them in the game within striking distance. And the defense did everything to win this game, and so did Achane. And the poor kid, once you start getting to these 20 carries, and I know they're now 5-0 and all that kind of stuff, you're playing with fire, dude. You're playing with fire. You don't want to overload this kid. He's a gem. He's something you want to take care of. And plus, he's the future. This is a meaningless season, There's nothing going on in the season. Nothing will ever happen in this season. The season will turn into nothing. You're just hoping to develop players along the way. You certainly aren't building on this coaching staff. You shouldn't build on anything that's in this organization. Unfortunately, that's just kind of the way it is. But today, I have to give the defense all the love. I have to give Achane and the boys. I wish they would have given more carries to the guys, in that short yardage play. Did you call a play so Ali has to then go sideline to sideline? What kind of shit is that, dude? You've got a 235-pound back. Pound it in there. You got the extra lineman. Freaking pound it in there. You need a yard. Why are you going around and dancing and trying to – who is this, Barry Sanders? That's if you're going to pull that shit at that moment, you better be Barry Sanders. You better cut on a dime and take off like lightning. And last time I checked, that's not who Ollie Gordon is. So was that the play call? Was that his decision? That's whatever. Again, this is what you deal with a Mike McDaniel poorly coached team is. You know what I'm saying? It's just a reminder. This is the reminder game, just in case. If you got full of yourself, if you thought anything of this team, this is the reminder that brought you back down to know that these guys, this organization is a clown show. So, what can I tell you? Anyway, we're going to have David Furones. We're going to have Chris Perkins, fresh from the locker room. We'll get their thoughts on it, of course. You can send in your questions, comments, Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That is Cash Big O Show. Cash App or Venmo. You can make a Bitcoin, Ethereum, Chainlink, or Solana donation as always, and we appreciate that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You can send your questions, comments, and insults there too. Thank you, thank you, thank you, as always. Let me see on the super chats. True Fin fan, pathetic even in a win. I would agree with that, my friend. I would agree with that wholeheartedly. Forces randomness, disappointing win, not impressed. Tua sucked today. Tua sucked wholeheartedly today. Tua blew so much chow. It made anybody after a night in New Orleans look purdy. Frankie Fresco, you got the Tulane coach? Tua and McDaniel need to go. Okay, well, that's kind of old news already. I mean, everybody needs to go. They need to flush the entire organization from top to bottom, my brother. Okay? You know what I'm saying? From front office to coaches and the quarterback, gut everything. Yes, everything needs to be gutted. Stephen Rowell, thank you for the love on the super chat. He says 7-10, here we come. That was my prediction. Been saying it since the week going into the Buffalo game. Going to get to 6-7, then finish 7-10 and be stuck in the middle. Hope all is well and you had a great Thanksgiving. I did. Even though I've been fighting this stupid cold, but it's only just mucus. I had a great Thanksgiving. Thank you, Steven. I hope you had a fantastic one. I had a nice, safe one. Dude, if I'm just nice and quiet with my daughter and my wife and my mother-in-law, and a couple other family members and uncles and stuff, we're good, dude. We're good. I'm good. I don't need to go out and make any extravagant. Nah, dude. Home, quiet, food, football. That's it, dude. Right? Family, football. That's that's all you need. A little faith, and you're in. Let's see, Mandy J. Snow. Thank you for the love and the super chat. Oh, when you have this kind of ownership and this kind of coaching, those of us that have been fans for years understand that the only thing that will soothe our lives is that the Fins just win. That's it. Exactly. That's all. We're stuck with a shitty owner. We're stuck with a quarterback that clearly, whatever has happened to him, I don't know what the hell, dude. I gave him some time this year to see if he but he is whatever. I don't know what's going on. Maybe he wants out. Maybe he's playing kind of scared and mediocre and protective, because even when he's getting sacked, he is preparing to be sacked and go down. So it's not like a fight or anything like that, because he's kind of protecting himself. And I don't know if he just wants a future somewhere else, which I don't blame him, because there's no future here anyways. No matter what, the faces and the names change. Nothing ever gets better here. You know what I'm saying? So players, if they want to go somewhere better, they're not looking like this is the place for the future. I know some of you may want to lie to yourselves about that, but I mean, it is what it is. So I don't know what's going on, but clearly he's not worth the money right now. And you're stuck with him. Either you expedite it and take the cap hit already and move on, or deal with it for another year. Okay? The transition year of whoever you bring in. Devin in Atlanta, thank you, sir, for the love on the super chat. He says, Achane and the Dolphins defense won this game today. Plain and simple, fins up. Yes. I mean, there's no other way to put it. No other way to put it. Like I said, Tua literally kept the Saints in the damn game. Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That is Cash Big O Show. Cash App or Venmo. Hateful Steve sent this in a couple of hours ago. Sometimes you guys send in off, when we're off the air, and we appreciate it. We'll still read it on the air and give you credit and everything, and thank you. Hateful Steve says, I figured out why Mario was able to win yesterday because the game didn't matter, with a laughing face. It was a definite win. And if it was a definite win, he would have choked it away, which hard to argue that point, Hateful Steve. And then he chimes in again. He says, your boy Tua throws to a midget in double coverage again. I don't want to hear from freaking Feronis that this was another intentional punt. Guys, it's a poor decision maker, has been and he's right. Tua has made shitty decisions all season long. All season long. And thank you, sir, for the love on Venmo, Cash App, or Venmo. And we always encourage the Cash App or Venmo because we get 100% of the donation. We appreciate the Super Chats, but we only get 70%. Freaking YouTube keeps 30. Anthony, we're the Lizzies. Says, defense was good. Achane is special. Tua had a rough day. Another example of McDaniel being outcoached in the second half of a game where adjustments were made and he couldn't counter. We'll take the win, though. Exactly. I love you, Anthony. You and I are usually on, we're good with ripping the shit out of our team, but we also love our team. And they get what they deserve, unfortunately. Joe Cracciola, thank you, sir, for the love on Venmo. Appreciate you. He says, Big O, it's comical. McD is always good for a laugh or two, just enjoying the wins, not getting emotionally attached, and waiting for next year. Love the show. That's all we can do, man. That's all we can do. Joe, thank you, sir, as always. I'll see you at a concert again one day. Peter German, thank you, sir, for the love on Venmo, as always. He says, this is a game that was won because of the D, and in spite of McDaniel and Tua, he is incapable of utilizing and complementing run and pass. The only guy that doesn't see it is the bonehead that owns the team. Not sure what the problem with Tua is, but he's not setting his feet, seeing the field well. He's playing terrible, dude. He's playing terrible, and I don't know what the hell it is. I don't know what it is. Adam says, oh, you called it. The defense saved the day for the Fins. Probably the worst game Tua has played as a Dolphin. Thankfully, it happened against the Aints. Now let's brace ourselves for Ross's announcement that McDaniel's getting an extension. We have to laugh at it because it's depressing to think that they would actually give that man an extension, and they actually gave him an extension when he didn't deserve one. Like, how does that make any sense whatsoever? Right? How does that make any sense? That's where you sit there and go, wait a minute, bro. Come on. No, we can't do this. Oh, my God. Thank you. Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That is Cash Big O Show, Cash App or Venmo. And you can make a Bitcoin, Ethereum, Chainlink, or Solana donation since Venmo has actually taken it to the next level. What else do we have here? Chuck Shannon says, ugly win. McDaniel's looking like a stressed out bum on the sidelines. Yeah, he did kind of look kind of wasted at the end there when they were awarded the onside, which kind of iffy. I didn't see the Dolphin really, but I guess it was ruled that he touched it, even though it didn't look like it to me. It looked pretty close, but whatever. But he looked pretty disheveled at that moment. I'm with you there, dude. Yeah, he looked like he was in another zone. Yeah, Yeah, I'm with you there. Suds, how you doing, my brother? Thank you for chiming in. Big O, this game was just like the Madrid game. Two terrible teams waiting to see who can suck less. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly it. And that's why I started the show by reminding you guys, you just watched two terrible football teams. You know, I know some of you have a hard time saying it from within, that you root for a terrible football team, you support a terrible football team, or you have season tickets for a terrible football team, or whatever it is that you did for this terrible football team, and you have to kind of justify it some other way to kind of lie to yourselves. But, you know, it is what it is, dude. It's a terrible football team. It just is, unfortunately. Manny J. Snow says 3-1, and Achane is on the sidelines. You can't make this crap up. Happy Thanksgiving to you and yours. Thank you, sir, for the super chat. And True Fin Fan says, Tua, a punch-drunk fighter. I've seen this before. You know, True Fin Fan, after all the concussions and the injuries, maybe that took a toll on the guy, dude. You know? And he got his money, and he got soft. And instead of it raising his game, maybe marriage, 2 kids, you get the money, you have all these injuries, your family's probably telling you on top of your wife, please take care of yourself. And now you have even more to save yourself and less to play for, because you made the money. You're already in the NFL. Now you have the wife, and now you have the kids, and now you have the life, and that's your future. You know that. Football is just kind of a bridge. So, you know, I'm looking at a guy that lost his edge, you know, lost the eye of the tiger. And he's got to go back with Apollo Creed, and Apollo's got to take him back to the hood. Even though Tua's from, you know, the Polynesian area, it's not the hood, but Apollo Creed only goes to the hood. Or he's got to go to Russia in the ice, you know, somewhere, but he's going to have to go get his edge again. And if he doesn't do that, you know, because that's what it looks like to me. It looks like to me like a guy that accomplished what he needed to accomplish. He realizes the health risks now and says, yeah, I'm not willing to play the way I used to play, and I'm not playing with the edge that I used to play with, because, bro, his passing is completely off. This isn't the Tua that we saw the first couple of years that was throwing darts all over the place. This guy lost his edge. This guy got human. This guy got the money. Got the family, got the kids, got priorities now that are much more important than football. Not to you, season ticket holder, win for anything at all costs. But for the player, this happens to some of them. They finally accomplish what they accomplish. The road to it wasn't easy. There was a lot of sacrifices, hip, concussions, all kinds of shit. And you're like, yeah, I'm not willing to do that anymore because I already got the money in the bank. And so then from that moment, you have lost your edge, your balls, your cojones, your eye of the tiger, whatever the hell you want to call it. Tua doesn't have that anymore. Doesn't have that anymore. So it's clear with the way he plays that he does not have that anymore. And his priorities, which, you know, I got to say, his wife's going to be a lot longer with him than football and the kids and all that other stuff. So it is what it is. And Miami loses because of that. And for him, we'll find out. If that's the case, then he'll go quietly eventually and retire. If not, he'll resurrect himself somewhere else that isn't here, because nobody wins here anyways. So let's also not let's not make it sound like anybody else has success here. Nobody has success here. Nobody succeeds here. No coaches succeed here. Players don't succeed here. They don't put together winning playoff seasons. They don't make deep playoff runs. They just don't do anything. They just don't. We have Richmond Webb waiting to get into the Hall of Fame because his team didn't accomplish jack shit. Are you paying attention? Richmond Webb isn't in the Hall of Fame, not because he doesn't deserve it. Oh, God, he deserves it. I watched the man play. I covered his whole career pretty much. That guy deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, but his team didn't win shit. So this happens to a lot of great players when they're part of teams that don't win anything, don't accomplish anything. It's that much harder for them to get in. They have to be so extraordinary. They have to be Jason Taylor. Look how hard it was for Zach to get in. Why? His team didn't win shit. That hurts you, man. That hurts you big time. When your team doesn't accomplish anything, and this has been going on for decades now, it hurts the players' chances to get it. It just diminishes them. May not completely stop you, but boy, it hurts you. It sets you back. Team accomplishments are very, very important in order to get into the Hall of Fame. It really elevates even more your accomplishments because they were part of winning seasons and things that mattered. Whereas a lot of our Dolphin players, they put up a lot of stats in a bunch of games that don't matter at all. Sucks, games that don't matter at all because they don't turn into any relevant seasons and they don't turn into deep playoff runs. So kind of sucks. But yeah, today, I don't know. To me, I have to look at Tua and say something's going on with this young man, and it's not good. And it's not good. He has completely lost his edge. That's the way I see it. I don't see the same guy that I saw a couple of years ago. He did everything to keep that damn team in it. So what can I tell you? We got to come up with a MVP. I think it's pretty easy to decide who's the Mudias Dental MVP of the game.
Who's last night's MVP? There's only one MVP for your family's dental care.
Mudias Dental. Get your smile back at Mudias Dental. Visit them on Instagram at mudias.dental.
Here's our Mudias Dental MVP of the night.
Devon Achane, 22 rushes, 134 yards. He's got over 1,000 yards now. And remember, he's got 5 more games to go. So I'm not impressed with 1,000 yards in a season. Now, 1,000 yards in 13 games. Or was it? No, 12 games. Okay? That's good. So I think in the NFL, in the first whatever years of it up until 1960 when they played 12 games, only one guy got 1,000 yards. Okay? And there was a lot of running in those days. But it was all 12-game seasons. Now, that's not to say after that, plenty of running backs have gotten 1,000, and even this year already, a couple running backs already. So it's not like it's uncommon, but it just kind of shows you how the game has evolved. And Achane, he's going to end up with 12, 13, 1,400 yards. I don't know. We'll see how, the next 5 games go. But, I mean, shit, if he's getting 100 yards in every game, it's going to be a hell of a season for him. If you get 1,000 yards in 16, 17 games, I'm not that impressed with that. You know what I mean? But 1,000 yards, 12 games in, that, my friends, that is impressive. And so 22 for 134 yards, a touchdown. Didn't really have any receptions today. And by the way, he's kind of slacking right now that Malik Toney is throwing. I think we should have Achane throwing touchdowns too now. No, but seriously, Achane's just absolutely amazing. Without him, I don't know where this offense would be. Kind of like Miami's offense in Coral Gables also. I don't know where they would be without Malachi Toney. But Devon Achane, man, he is definitely our MVP. And by the way, of course, when it comes to Mediocre Dental, Invisaligns, dental implants, preventive care, cosmetic surgery, I've been going there for years. My wife, my daughter, my mother-in-law, our entire family. It is a family practice, by the way, father and sons. And they run 2 locations in Dade and Broward County. Dade, 305-821-0231 in Broward. 954-692-6825. Get your smile back. Follow them on Instagram at moodius.dental. And it's really easy when you have Devon Achane, because that's definitely the MVP of the night.
The MVP of the night is brought to you by MEDIOCRE Dental.
From Invisaligns, dental implants, same-day crowns, and the preventative care and preservation to get your smile back, they accept most major dental insurances. They provide free new patient exams. To schedule an appointment in Dade, call 305-821-0231. In Broward, 954-692-6825. Follow them on Instagram at moodias.dental, providing MVP smiles every day of the year.
All right. What do we have? Let me go early on, because some people early on, then I skip them. It's a lot, so I won't be able to get to everybody. Lima, the people here blaming it on the coach. Coach isn't great, but he's a better coach than Tua is a QB. They both aren't worth. Jose, if you're bothering to argue about either guy, you're a loser, bro. Neither guy. Tua is not worth defending anymore. Sorry, and I'm a Tua guy, okay? I give Tua a little love here on the show, but there's nothing to defend with Tua at this point. You know, you could give Tua all the breaks in the world, and look, this is a terrible team. This is a terrible organization. They don't know how to take care of any of their quarterbacks anyways. They didn't take care of Tua from the get-go. So, it's a disaster, but at this point, I can't defend Tua. I can defend Tua with all the other shit that went on early, but I can't defend Tua right now. You're making the money, bro. You asked for the money, comes with the territory. But defending Tua or McDaniel, you morons are wasting your time. Who gives a shit about either one at this point? Daniel Berry, happy Sunday to you, sir. Let's see. Drew says teams want McDaniel as their coach and or coordinator. They can have him. They can have them. Do they want our ownership too? Because they can have that too. Stephen Harris correctly names this game the Toilet Bowl. Eric Nordstrom has a super mediocre today. I would have to agree with that. Yup says defense was good. Run game was good. QB was shit. Accurate breakdown right there by Yup. You want to take my job? You want to take over? You did a good breakdown there. Finn's pocket potato, Big O. I think McD was decent until that interception call by Tua killed it for us afterwards. Tua was very off again today, says Fuzz Busta. Big O, do you think Tua's hip injury from college or the one from last season is giving him problems? Yes. Yeah, there's no doubt. Not the one from, because he recovered from that one and played well. It's you're on to something, either the last one that he had did something to him, and then also the concussions, the money, the family, and he's lost his edge. So it's a lot of things, but there's no doubt that hip, you see him and he looks even less mobile, and he wasn't mobile in the first place. Okay. Again, I don't really need you to be that mobile. If you had actually a real line and you actually had like a decent passing game that you can call and bigger receivers and all that kind of stuff, you would make the guy's life a lot easier. But at this point, dude, it's all just, we're just pissing into a fan. You know what I mean? Nothing's going to get better. So who knows who's coming and who's going to be the general manager, who's going to be the head coach, what quarterback are they going to go for, all that kind of crap. So X5634 says, I've changed my mind. The QB is the problem now. Well, you're not very smart, sir. The owner's the problem. See, that when you start just thinking that one thing is the problem, you missed out you have no idea what the hell you're talking about. Sir, Stephen Ross and the Ross family is the problem. They're a clown show, and as long as they're a clown show, everything under them is the big top. That's just the way. The Dolphins are the Volkswagen bug that pulls up to the circle, and one clown after another just keeps coming out. And the clown looks like Cam Cameron, and then he looks like Adam Gase, and then he looks like Jerry Wilson, and then he looks like Tua right now, or he looks like Mike McDaniel, or he comes out of the thing running his fingers through his hair like Dave Wannstedt, or maybe he comes out of the car clapping his hands saying we're going to be special like Jimmy Johnson, or maybe it's Jim Druckenmiller, whatever it is, or maybe it's Ricky Williams running the other way, smoking a big doob, whatever it is, dude. Okay? That's what the Dolphins are. It's a Volkswagen bug. It's a clown show, and that's all we get every year. Oh my God. Hey, who's the latest clown? Oh, it's Joe Philbin. You know, oh, it's Jeff Ireland. Oh, it's Donna Ponte. Oh, it's, whatever. That's what we get, dude. So when you keep thinking Tua's the problem, or Cleo Lemon's the problem, or Dan Marino's the problem, because I've been told Dan Marino's the problem, or whatever, or you think Jay Fiedler is the problem and all that. It's just ask yourself who put them in place. Ask yourself who surrounded them. Ask yourself who hired the coaches, who hired the front office, who signed them to contracts, who signed them to extensions. Ask yourself that, sir. Okay? And then grow a fucking brain. Leo, Tua's completely cooked. Someone pointed that out outright. Awful in the rain. He's played well in the cold before. Bro, he's sucked in every kind of environment this year. Outside, inside, it doesn't matter, dude. I'm not giving him any excuses anymore. You can't. He's got 4,000 interceptions this year. He is little Winston. Not Jameis Winston. He's little Winston. Okay? Come on, man. Enough is enough. Yes, O.J. McDuffie was a tough SOB. We don't have any O.J. McDuffies on this team. There are no O.J. McDuffies on this team. McDaniel sucks as a head coach. The Dolphins should have been up at least 21-0 at the half if they stuck with the running game. Well, what do you want? You see your quarterback is dog shit, and you still keep dialing it up, and it just doesn't make any sense. And the run game, as I said in the pregame, you're playing against the 29th best run defense. Bro, run the ball. Run the ball. And use the other guys. In the second carry right away, you had Jay Wright in there, and I'm like, okay, let's go. And how many carries did Jay Wright end up with? These are things, 3 for 16 yards. So why aren't you using him? He got 1 for 8 and the other 2 for 4. That's productive, right? And then Ollie Gordon gets 3 for 10, and obviously that last one was absolutely terrible, but that's not his game. His game is to punish. What else do we have here? Let me go through some of the earlier ones that we have here. Mike Giovanelli, he did that to himself, apparently. I don't know what he means by that. Berth Harris says, sick of hearing all this shit about him being one of the most accurate QBs. My God, just stop it. Talk about peeing on my leg and telling me it's raining. Yeah, there's nothing to defend with Tua right now. Nothing. Nobody can defend Tua. Nobody. And he doesn't deserve any defense, by the way. So, Basketball Jones says, we're doomed. This is rough, though. We're used to it. I mean, he's kind of right. We're kind of used to this kind of crap. We are used to it, So, Electromundo. That makes total sense. So we don't deserve to deal with a complacent QB, though. I wanted to draft Tua, but now I just want to move on from him. Yeah, well, I mean, it doesn't matter because I feel bad for the next quarterback because if we don't have the people above that know how to, we didn't know how to compliment Marino, bro. We had Marino here and we didn't know how to compliment it. We had no idea. We had Don Shula and he could not get a running game and a dominant offensive line for Marino. And a defense, too. Obviously, he had a shit defense most of the time. But, yeah. Bruce Wilson says 100% lost his drive. Mickey says Big O's making excuses for Tua. Bitcoin will retest 70. Bad month upcoming for Big O. Mickey, I started at 16,000. There's nothing bad for me. And Bitcoin, the price to make a Bitcoin is at $74,000 right now. So the lowest it could ever test is 74. Could I see it testing 80, 82 again? Yes. And you know what, Mickey? I'll keep buying. And then when it's at 200,000, I'll laugh my ass off at you. Just like I'm laughing my ass off at you now when I bought it at 16 and 18 and 19 and 20 and 25 and 30. And I'm way in the profit, bro. Something that you're not. You're just a guy that runs his fucking mouth and is on the chat board watching me. Get it? So, when you're stupid, you can't teach anybody stupid. So if you want to drop to 70, bro, I'll buy even more. You're the same loser that came out when it went to 67 and dropped to 16, and they're telling me it's dropping to 10, and I'm telling them if it drops to 10, I'll buy even more. Because we're only headed in one direction. Because the guy that's in the Oval Office has printed $2.3 trillion to our deficit in 10 months. I know math. You don't, my brother. One thing started at 8 digits behind a penny. It's called Bitcoin. Where's the dollar? So, but hey, man, Mickey, you keep being stupid, my brother. I need people like you in this world to take advantage of because you're the idiot that sells your Bitcoin to me. Chris says only reason he had any success was because of McDaniel's offense until teams figured him out. I don't think so. I think he had success when things actually were in a way surprising people. But once they figured out McDaniel's one-dimensional thinking, then Tua is not the athlete to run that offense. He needed this guy to run an offense that you're not dedicated to the run. You still won't win shit. That's the part you don't get. You know what I'm saying? Just like you don't win anything with Lamar Jackson anyways. Still need a passer, dude. But unfortunately, we have a coach that doesn't understand offensive line play and how important guards are and all those kind of things. So it runs a lot deeper than that. But Tua's cooked anyways at this point. If this is Tua, he's done because he doesn't have any edge whatsoever. Tua has lost that love and feeling. I agree with you, Ted. I agree with you. Shelby says, did having Tyreek prop up his numbers? That helps, obviously. But Tyreek also played his best football ever under Tua. The most yards he's ever put, the best numbers he's ever put was under Tua. But again, once they figure you out and your coach doesn't have a counter, because the players aren't going to figure it out. Okay? Players aren't smart enough to figure it out on their own. Okay? Marino needed a running game, and he wasn't going to be able to figure that out. He can only overcome so much. And when they got to big games in the playoffs, Marino and company shit the bed many times over. That's why they didn't have a lot of deep playoff runs, because they didn't have a defense and a running game. So once they figure you out, no matter who you are, you can only do so much. Look at Lamar Jackson. He's great in the regular season. Once he gets to the postseason, the real defenses figure him out, stop the run, make Lamar a passer, and guess what Lamar isn't? A passer. So He shits the bed. Once they figure you out, dog, it doesn't matter who it is. You could be Marino. You could be Lamar Jackson. You could be Tua. You got to have a counter. So if you're going to go after Montana, you still have to go after Roger Craig. If you're going to go after Mahomes, you still have to go after their running game. And their defense is going to go after you. Not this Chiefs team. This looks like it's run out of gas already from all the deep runs. But when the Chiefs mattered, Pacheco and the boys were running the ball. You had to worry about Kelsey. You had to worry about their defense. You had to worry about Chris Jones, was exactly what Mahomes was on the other side. That's it. Now you have a Chris Jones that has mileage on him, and now he's trying to take shortcuts and doesn't hold his gap. And there goes a running back and takes it to the house. And then he's on the sideline going, my bad, my bad, my bad. Why? Because you're not the same guy anymore. You're not playing with that same edge because you've had a lot of the buffet already, man. You've had the championships, the money, and the wear and tear, and you're not the same anymore. But you got to have a counter. And that's why an Andy Reid has a counter, and he doesn't put it all on one person, because when it's all on one person, like Mahomes, you still lose. If you don't have the offensive line, Mahomes loses. If you don't have the defense, Mahomes loses. If you don't have the running game, Mahomes will lose. He can only do so much for you. He's going to do a lot because he's great, but he's not going to get you over that hump because you still have to. Bro, Jalen Hurts in his freaking dreams isn't 1/10 of the quarterback that Mahomes is, but his team was more complete. So he doesn't have to do that much. Now, if you put Jalen Hurts where he can't run and he's got to be a passer, he'll die because he can't do it. So everybody's got limitations, Tua, whoever, but it's up to your coach to design things to hide the limitations you have as Drew Brees, to hide the limitations. Do you think that the guy with the Rams, Matt Stafford, can ever win a game with his legs? Never in his life. But Sean McVay has to draw the offense and defense up to complement the old man. And they're the best team in football. You got to have a counter, but it's your coach that provides that counter. We've never had that here. Shula had it for, he could do it when he had the talent and all that kind of stuff. And he worked smoke and mirrors down the stretch himself, too, with whatever he had. But still, we've never had those kind of guys ever again. We've never had that kind of coach. Just don't. We don't have a Sean McVay. We don't have an Andy Reid. We just don't have it, dude. We don't have a Kevin O'Connell. We've never had any of those kind of guys here for a long time. And so then we put it all on Ricky. We put it all on Danny. We put it all, whatever era it is, we're going to put it all on Jason and Zach. And, bro, that just doesn't work. And people don't get it. And then that's why you got the guy who comes in, hey, it's just Tua's fault. No, moron, it's everybody's fault. Because from the top, there's no vision. And so from the top, you don't get to set the real team. And that's the problem here. People don't understand that football is a team game. And we never, ever build the team. Ever. So it doesn't matter who the next quarterback is, or the next coach, or the next GM. If they don't know what the hell they're doing, the players that are going to be here are not going to have any success. Anyway, Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That is Cash Big O Show. Cash App or Venmo. And you can make a Bitcoin, Ethereum, Chainlink, or Solana donation. You can also send in your questions or comments, insults, all kinds of stuff. Tua never had the killer instinct. No, I know. Coming off the bench and winning a national title is not a killer instinct. Bro, let me ask you something. Who's got a killer instinct with the Miami Dolphins? What are you talking about? Nobody's ever had killer instincts with the Miami Dolphins because this is a disaster of an organization. So nobody ever has a killer instinct here because the team's never had a killer instinct for decades. You're probably, what is it? Who's the idiot that wrote that? Brad Philshaw. You're probably too young to remember when they had that. That was back in the 70s, dog. That's my time when I was a kid. So when I was a kid heading into teenager in the 70s, that's when they had it. And then they started losing it in the early 80s. They barely had it, and they had some success with it, but didn't have that complete edge. And since then, the Dolphins have never had that edge, bro. So wake the hell up. It ain't a Tua thing. The Miami Dolphins haven't had an edge for over 40 years, fool. So if your team doesn't have it, your players never will. Again, there's another guy. Still doesn't get the big picture on what's really going on. Let's see. When does Big O at QB next season? If you were GM for a day, listen, bro. I'm just going to sit here and wait and see whatever they do, and we'll go along for the ride. I don't really care anymore, and I'm really not even, when they hire somebody, we'll talk about it. But I got to tell you, they have taken a lot of the fire out of me for this team. I don't have a lot of hope for anything. So when they convince me that they have something, then we'll talk about it. Outside of that, I don't play the silly hypotheticals and all that stuff. Big O sounds like David Byrne because Tua has the wife and the house once in a lifetime. I guess whatever that means. Yeah, happy for him. Let's see. What else do we have? Companies are coming into our country in droves. Most Cuban conservatives. Huh? I don't know what that means. Woohoo, buy it $70K until it goes back to $30K. Yeah, all right. Mickey, you're the same clowns that had it going down to 10,000. I never hear from you again. So, I've heard from you trolls and cowards for many years. Let's see. We could eliminate Mickey. Why don't we do that, right? I think so. Eliminate Mickey. Mickey J643, since he's just an idiot that just keeps talking about something that we're not talking about anyways. He's banned already, Scott. You're going to get your wish. Okay? There you go. The moron's banned. I somewhat disagree with you on past Marino teams. The 92 Dolphins team had a championship potential, but no, they didn't. No, they weren't better than Buffalo, dude. It was a nice team and all that, but it still wasn't good enough on defense. Yeah, it wasn't, dude. Marino never had a great defense, and he never had a great running game either, by the way. And 92 did not have a great running game. So, Buffalo was great, my brother. Not Miami. Buffalo was great. Buffalo owned their ass. So, you got to let it go, dude. You got to let it go. Okay? Miami wasn't anything compared to Buffalo in those days. Buffalo ran circles around them. Let's see. White man from town says, if you're financially crippled like me too. Penny stocks, pumps, and dumps are the way. There you go. Big O, you were saying you may ask yourself, it sounded like Talking Heads song. Yes. Once in a lifetime. Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. Brian Nobles, thank you for the love on Cash App. Says thank you for the great show. I appreciate you, my brother. I wish our team was great. I pray for the day that the Dolphins will be great. Rob Cow, by the way, thank you, sir. And he put Weaver. Hey, by the way, where are all the people? There's 386 of you now watching. Where can you guys admit to yourselves? Because a lot of you were ripping Weaver. How is he now? Is he a good coach 2 years in a row? They give him a shit defense and he actually makes it all right, makes it work. No secondary whatsoever, and he made it work. Last year, no pass rush whatsoever, and he made it work. And by the way, he really has only one pass rusher. The defensive tackles are all getting better. I told you guys that Weaver was the guy I would have put as head coach because he is head coach material. And you guys were like, oh, I don't know, Weaver is bad and all that. And you all overreact. All of you that talk shit about Weaver in the first month, you were all wrong, and you all overreacted on Weaver. And now, if I tell you after the third week they should have fired him and put Weaver in place, I was right 100%. 100%. And I told you guys also, don't overreact on Weaver because he'll figure it out in the second half of the season, but it'll be too late to save the season. And I told you that over and over again. And, just like that coward with Bitcoin, that, it won't go to 70 or whatever, but whatever, when it disappears to 175 and 200, you won't ever hear from that clown again. I never hear from you people out there that all of you out there, man, there's so many of you jamming on Weaver. Where are you? Where are you? Oh, I was talking shit about Weaver and I was wrong. He's a damn good coach. Considering what he had to work with, young-ass defensive tackles, linebackers that really aren't good in coverage, and zero secondary outside of Minka. And he's actually made it. He won the game today. His unit won the game along with that running game. His unit has helped in this 4 out of 5 game winning streak. And I don't hear people say squad. And many of you were shitting on Weaver. Because it's typical. Fans, they overreact on everything, pretty much. A majority of you overreact on everything that goes on. And then you've got other people, media or whatever, and they kind of lead you in that direction. But I certainly am not hearing people say, wow, I was really wrong about Weaver. Because a bunch of you were running your mouths and saying he was a terrible coach. And none of you come back to admit that you were wrong. See, the good thing is, for most of you out there, nobody tracks whatever the hell you say. So they really can't come after you. Yes, sir. We're going to say something?
Yeah, I was going to say in the press conference, something funny came out about Anthony Weaver as far as the defensive play for the 2-point conversion where Minka got the interception and took it back.
Yeah.
The headset communication went out when they were talking. There was no play called. They thought Dotson got the play because he was relaying to the players, but Dotson called it on his own. Everybody just grabbed somebody, and that's the play they ran. They thought Dotson had heard the play in the headset, but it didn't. And he just said, everybody grab a man, and then that's what we got out of that play.
There you go. There you go. But his unit has been the key to this winning streak, along with, of course, Achane. And don't hear enough, and we're going to end up losing this guy. We're going to end up losing this guy. He's going to go somewhere else. He's not going to want this job here. We're going to interview him and a bunch of other candidates, I bet, for head coach. And if he has an option, he's not coming back here. He's going to go somewhere where he thinks it's a better option. And I don't know what we're going to get. That's the more you have Stephen Ross around, the more you will not get the better candidates. They will go to other places that they feel are better ownership groups. It's not just about everybody will spend money except for Mike Brown and well, hell, you know what? The San Diego owner, what's his name? He's cheap, but he actually spent for Harbaugh and his entire staff and everything, which is unheard of for those cheapos. Spanos. The Spanos family doesn't spend shit. And for some miracle. But outside of that, and the Raiders are kind of cheap too. Although, look, they got burned with Chip Kelly. Tom Brady's suggestion for offensive coordinator, highest paid offensive coordinator in the NFL. And so everybody's got money. Even the cheapos will spend some money. So that whole thing about he'll spend, so will everybody else, dude. It's pretty much the NFL. Unless you're playing for Spanos, Mike Brown, or the Raiders, maybe you might run into. Oh, and the Bidwells too have also been known to be cheap. Although the younger Bidwell spends more than the old man. I will say that. But still, they are the Bidwells. And that's kind of, that's where we're headed. We're headed down to, we're being looked at like the Bidwells. We're looked at like the Browns. We're looked at like Woody Johnson. It's not that Woody Johnson doesn't have money, but he just doesn't know how to spend his money. And this is kind of where we're headed, unfortunately. So, Big O, I keep saying this, but if you agree, Achane is like the 99 Fred Taylor without the injuries. He can be on our 30 and run it all the way. Achane will end up being in conversation running back forever. He's awesome, dude. Just sign him this offseason. Give him, whoever is the new GM, you sign Achane, you re-sign him to a new contract and give him an extension. Because he's easily worthy of a new extension. Next year will be his final year, his fourth year. So he'll be a free agent. You don't want him playing on that year. So you want to sign him now this offseason, give him an extension, and definitely lock him up, dude. Definitely. No matter who the quarterback, who the offensive coordinator, who the head coach is, who the GM is, the fans want to see Achane. And anybody wants a guy like that on offense. Sean, do me a favor. Give me 30 seconds to clear my throat, please.
It starts every morning before the sun comes up. Projects are laid out. Plans are made. Equipment is fueled and loaded with inventory to handle all service requests. Orders are given to an army of skilled landscape maintenance professionals, certified arbor trimmers, irrigation technicians, and licensed pest management experts who fan out to communities and businesses all over South Florida. Experienced, on time, and dependable. Our staff is fully trained, licensed, and insured. Contact us by phone, email, social media, or through our website to answer all your landscape questions. We are Cutter's Edge, Total Landscape Solutions.
All right. Thank you. And I appreciate you all out there. Acura Pembroke Pines, a proud sponsor of our program at 15601 Pines Boulevard, just off of I-75 in Pines. We were just there on Friday, and obviously they've got the Season of Performance sales event going on, the Integra, ridiculous. $169 a month. That's 3.9% financing for 60 months. Get on down there, check it out. 2025 models. And Larry was talking about this, that not a lot of 2025s left coming in. Mostly 2026. So take advantage of these 2025s. The ADX, $239 a month, 4.9% financing for 60 months. The RDX, $359 a month, 4.9% financing for 60 months. The TLX, $339 a month, 4.9% financing for 60 months. Tell them that Big O sent you. They will take care of you. Trust me. And their service center, Mike Chan, Jordan Ferber, great people out there. So if you got to, rotate the tires, change any tires, oil change, whatever it is that you're going to do with your Acura, because obviously with Acuras, man, they last forever. They're like tanks. All you got to do is maintain them, change the filters and all that, and that thing will run forever. My wife's RDX is 15 years old. So in 2026, we're finally going to get her a new model, dude. She is heading into year 16 of that, man. That is crazy. So check it out at Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. Don't forget, you can make a donation to the show, Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That is Cash Big O Show, Cash App or Venmo. Let's see what else. McDaniel abandoned the running game again, even knowing Tua was incompetent. Cuban gangster, I can't argue with you, my brother. Winning or losing, McDaniel will make sure to use all of his timeouts before 2 minutes. Jeremy says, Big O, you mentioned the Browns' Mike Pettin and Hugh Jackson records are worse than the Dolphins, and knowing Stephen Ross, he will hire a head coach worse than Mike McDaniel. It's all possible. We're a glutton for punishment, man. You know what I'm saying? White man from town says, I put the problems of the Dolphins on the early 90s and catastrophes on DC Tom Olivadotti. Maybe I'm wrong, but Cross, Oliver Williams, Vincent Cox were all great players, but it had to be scheme that failed. Either way, dude, whatever excuse you want to use, they didn't have a dominant running game, and they never had a dominant defense around Marino. Never. And they had a decent line. The line was great on the left side with the two guys. But from the center to the right, yeah, decent players, but it wasn't a great line either. It was Marino's radar and delivery that he got rid of it in 2 seconds that made them look better than what it was. You know what I'm saying? So if you had a dominant line, you would have had a dominant running game. And you never had a dominant running game, and you never had a dominant defense. It's the same, dude, it's the same problem for decades. We don't know how to build teams anymore. And we don't know how to complement any of our quarterbacks. Even Tannehill. Okay? I'm not a Tannehill fan, never have been. As you all know, I gave him the nickname Tannehill. All right? Tannehill went to Tennessee and had more success than here. And it wasn't because he was anything great. It's because Vrabel knew what he had in him and made sure everybody else around him kind of elevated it, and they only had to use him to facilitate here or there. The reason why he lost his job there was because there were moments that it all fell on him, and that's when he threw a bunch of interceptions, because that's who Tannehill is. He goes scatterbrain in pressure situations. But if you have Derrick Henry in that defense and the offensive line mauling people, all you need is Tannehill to make a throw or two to AJ or something, and then he's fine. And he was winning playoff games throwing 70 yards, 100, 150, 175 yards. Wasn't doing anything special, but it was Derrick Henry in the defense. And he got all the way to even an AFC championship game. And it's not because of him, because they complimented him and made him better than what he was. Was Miami able to do that? Never. They always put it where they put him in position to try to bail you out. How asinine is that? Anyway, let's see what else do we have. We have the one and only David Furones ready to go with our Welt and Rayom Miami Dolphins report.
All rise, football fans, as the Welt and Rayom Miami Dolphins report with David Furones is in session. Welton Rayom has more than 62 years of litigation experience handling insurance disputes. They are committed to resolving even the toughest insurance claims quickly. Call them for a free consultation. 954-966-4646. Here's Miami Dolphins insider David Furones.
All right. If you looked at a pig and you put lipstick on it, it's exactly what you got today.
Yeah, pretty much. Huh? That's an ugly win for it to come down to all that. But yeah, I mean, they say in the NFL a win's a win. So I think they say that a lot of places. So not just the NFL, but yeah, you take them however you can. Especially, I mean, you are the Dolphins. You're not some world beaters. You're just trying to piece things together. Win as much as you can down the stretch. And yeah, it is 3 in a row for them, but boy, yeah, the last two squeaking by. The Washington, which was really banged up and only a 3-win team going to that one, needing the 2-point pick 2 going the other way, and then another stop after an onside kick. And had you not gotten the return going the other way, the Saints could have kicked the field goal for the win. Yeah, not a great game from Tua. You do have Devon Achane consistently doing his thing. Yeah, not a great game from Tua is vastly underselling it. But yeah, this offense didn't give you much against a team that they should have won a little bit more comfortably.
I called it the reminder game. It reminds you out there they're not in the hunt. It reminds you they haven't turned any corner. It reminds you that Mike McDaniel's not a good coach. It reminds you that the team is a terrible football team. So maybe a lot of you out there that, some might even be pumping that hopium, like I see Joe Shad pumping hopium constantly. Kind of pump the brakes. They are who they are. They're a terrible football team. They just don't suck as much as a couple of other teams that really suck a lot. That's all it is. It's just, and let's talk about Tua, dude, because, I've defended Tua as much as I can, but his play is indefensible, and I'm starting to think that his complete edge. He got his kids, got married, got the money, got a lot of injuries and a lot of grief, a lot of pain and discomfort, and maybe that last hip injury that he suffered last year did something to him. But clearly, dude, he is not the guy that you saw 2 years ago, 3 years ago, that was throwing darts all over the place. We have a guy that is playing with no edge, no confidence, and I don't know. I'm just seeing a guy kind of going through the motions, not really a guy that is, that warrior that he used to talk about all the time.
Yeah, it was only that opening drive that Achane scored on the somewhat long touchdown run where the offense was in any kind of rhythm. Aside from that, then it's he throws a bad interception going into the end zone. I know there's been an emphasis on forcing some deep balls in certain looks. I backed it in that Buffalo game, but both of those instances were 3rd and longs. This was a 1st and 10 after you just got the ball back from a turnover. So, and you're already starting in just about field goal range. I can't remember where they definitely were because he threw it to the end zone. So
I tweeted out that you keep doing this, and Waddle's a space guy. And if Waddle has space and he has distance, then you throw the ball because you're leading him. And there's no like Cedric Wilson was open. Tua overthrew him, but he was past the defenders, and so you lead him with the ball, and that's it. It was a bad pass by Tua, but he was open. If Waddle was leading the defenders, then I understand you throwing. But they keep throwing balls where he's covered and he's going to have to fight for the football. And he's not Mark Clayton. He's not Chris Chambers. He's not Orlando Gadsden. 3 guys with 3 different body types, but they all had something in common. They had that skill set that they knew how to fight and high point a ball. Waddle has never been a high point receiver ever in his life. And I don't know why one idiot calls it and 2, the other idiot keeps throwing the ball. I don't really understand this one. It doesn't make any sense.
In these instances, that over-the-top defender, that safety is there and in position. So that's not where you have the look that you need in order to throw it deep. So, I'm with you, and especially because I'm big on. I was okay with those 3rd and longs in the Bills game because
the Bills games ones, they were punts. So
exactly right. I'm okay with situationally, but maybe you draw an interference, but
But the Washington one was dumb, and then it was dumb here again. So you've continued the bad habit in other scenarios, and it just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And again, it doesn't make sense with that player. If you're telling me it's Darren Waller downfield with those 2 guys and he's fighting, okay, you know what, dude? I'll take my chances. I'll take my chances with that. Orlando Gadsden used to be covered like all the time, dude. Like all the time the DB was there because Orlando was never going to outrun anybody in life. So, but you were going to cover him, but you weren't going to cover him up there. No, sorry, it just wasn't going to happen. And so I understand that, but I just don't really get this one, dude. I just don't. Now, kudos to the defense, bro. They won this game, man. They've really turned things around in the last 5 weeks to help this team win a bunch of games.
Yeah. And I mean, yes, they did give up that touchdown at the end. So the Saints did have a chance to tie with the 2-point try. But I mean, because they dealt with something really difficult there on that 2-point conversion after the false start, and they're backed up 5 yards. Then Tyrell Dodson said that they couldn't get because he's the green dot player that gets the radio communication from the call from Anthony Weaver, that they couldn't get the call in, which is just wild to me on a 2-point try to effectively in that moment. You think it's to win the game, and then they basically just played like backyard football, like, all right, everybody get a man, and just went out there and Minka covered the right man, and he undercut the route, made a great play, and then he took it back the other way for 2 points that proved immensely critical because the Saints would have been in range to try a long game-winning field goal had it been 19-17 instead of 21-17. Instead, they have to go for it on 4th down, and they get stuffed. So that was really the difference. The Dolphins could have lost on a late field goal had it not been for those 2 points. Not just getting the stop, but getting the 2 points from going the other way. So a phenomenal play by him, who, by the way, had the earlier strip sack that led to a turnover, with Zach Sealer recovering the fumble. So we've seen Minka put together a nice stretch because also I think it was the Bills game where he was involved in so many of the defense's big plays. So kudos to him. Rasul Douglas with the interception that they were giving him a hard time for not taking it back the other way like Minka did. So Minka said the DB room is going to fine Rasul for getting caught on that one and not producing points.
That was good. Achane, dude. Still pissed that you didn't use the other guys. That play call was Ollie. Punch in the middle. That this whole trying to figure out, what the hell that was. But performance by Devon Achane, dude, I don't know where this team would be without them. Where the Canes would be without Malachi Tony, or where the Dolphins
Yeah, no, that's right. This is now how many straight games? So, I mean, definitely 3 straight of 100 yards. And, I mean, he had the Bills game, it was 174 for him. So now this puts him over 1,000 on the season. So he's been consistent. He's been a guy. Even some of his down games are still pretty good. And that's really the identity, and kind of him and the run game is kind of bailing out this offense for a lot of it, because you're not getting the Tua that we had in down here in Miami in years past, and a couple of years ago for sure, the 2023 version. So that run game is really the identity and what's keeping this offense going right now for whatever it is going, because it was still such a struggle in this game. So great to see him have his 1,000-yard season, notch that together, and deservedly so, because he's a smaller back that takes on a big workload, takes on a bell cow running back's workload, and he does so many different things. He didn't get so involved in the pass game today, but everything he does, lining up in different spots, motioning to going out wide, and he has to understand the playbook from a lot of different perspectives. So that's good to see him get his shine, pick up his first 1,000-yard season, and he's still got a lot of time to rack up a lot more yards.
Yeah, because I was saying 1,000 yards ain't shit in 16, 17 games. I'm not impressed, but it's 1,012. Okay?
Right.
And just, like, to bring it to perspective, the NFL stopped playing 12-game seasons in 1960. Starting in 61, they started playing 14 games. You know how many running backs?
Look at you with the history. Yeah.
Do you know how many running backs leading into 1960 had run for 1,000 yards in 12 games?
Whew. You can count them on one hand.
You can count them with one finger.
One finger. Wow.
The Jet was one guy that got it, and that's it. Nobody else. Now, of course, there's already a couple of backs over 1,000 yards with 12 games, right now going on. But it just kind of shows you in perspective. It's impressive what he's doing, that he's got 1,000 yards through 12 games. Now he's got 5 more to go. So this is a kid that could end up with 1,250, 1,350, 1,500 yards. That's going to be pretty nasty if he's able to get to that point. That's going to be a hell of a season. And now we're talking about Ricky Williams type territory right now, is what we're talking about.
Yeah, and he's a home run hitter. So, I mean, for any one of these, he could go and reel off 200 in a game. He had 174 not too long ago. So, he could go put up a huge number that just shoots him up those leaderboards and with his total. So, he's been playing phenomenally.
Have you started a rushing watch to see how he climbs the single season rushing record of the Miami Dolphins?
Okay, maybe I could work with our photo and video editor Sean Pitts to create a little graphic or something to really visually show it.
Like a horse race, and like see who are the because I think Ricky's number one, obviously.
His 1,800-yard season.
I don't think anybody's gotten more than that, and I think his second season might be also like right up there. You know what I mean? So I don't know, but it's
his 03 season he was like 13 something. He was 1,300. Yeah, it's still a big number, but it wasn't like 1,800 like he had.
You don't have a lot of guys in between those numbers.
Yeah.
I tell you, it's not like there's like 8 guys in between the 1,800 and the 1,300 he had. No. I don't know how many it is, but maybe there's 1 or 2. Not a lot.
Let me see. I might be able to find this with a quick search because now you got me thinking. I mean, it was Ricky Williams' second season was actually the number 2, even though there was almost a 500-yard difference. Yeah, Jay Ajayi is number 3 at 1,272. So he could easily, if he gets 1,300, then he's the number 3 season behind Ricky's 02 and 03. Those 2 seasons. And back then, Ricky was.
So Lamar Smith is like 4 or 5?
5, yeah, because Delvin Williams in 1978, 1258. Lamar Smith had 1139. So,
right.
Yeah, you're right.
And Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is right after that. Right after
8 because there's Ricky Williams' 09 season, Larry Zonka in 72. That's when he shows up with 1117. So obviously, there was a three-headed backfield. Yeah,
but Kareem had like 1,100 yards, right? It was right around there, right?
Yeah, 1116.
Yeah, I remember.
Lamar Miller had 1099.
Yeah,
in 14. Yeah, Reggie Bush had a 1,000-yard season.
That shows you where Achane is. Achane's already flirting with, I don't know if he'll pass Ricky's top season, but he has a chance.
Yeah,
he has a chance to be the number 2 rusher.
Right.
All time in a single season for the Miami Dolphins. Now he is playing 1 extra game than Ricky.
Yeah. And here's the key is how much they pounded Ricky. Now, Achane gets a lot of carries for his size, but you're talking about Ricky had 383 rushing attempts in 02 and 392 in 03. He was averaging that 03 season, he averaged 3.5 yards per attempt. So Devon Achane is averaging over 5. I think like 5.5, 5.6. I got to see the updated number. So on a yards per carry standpoint, then Achane is well beyond that. But Ricky, they pounded him those two years. I mean, it was a different era.
Well, it's what you had to do, unfortunately.
Right. It was Jay Fiedler at quarterback. Yeah.
Have the quarterback that you can just wing a kid for 35, 40 times. No, that you wanted to keep Jay somewhere in that 18 to 25 range. Because that's not who he was, dude, unfortunately. You got to play to the player's strengths, and they tried as much as possible, but they ran the offense that they had to run around him. You know what I mean? I can't argue that, actually. I have to say that Dave, this is the scariest shit that I'm going to say in the history of the world here in football in 30 years. Okay? Dave Wanstead, out of all the coaches you've had since Don Shula, Jimmy Burnett.
Oh, I know where you're going.
Dave Wanstead did the best job to complement his quarterback success. Think about
you got to say, yeah.
He gave him a fullback, a pass-catching fullback. He gave him a tight end and Randy McMichael and others. He gave him Chris Chambers and other receivers. He had a decent offensive line, actually, and he had one hell of a defense. So when you look at Jay Fiedler, he was the most complimented quarterback that we've ever had in the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah.
From Johnson till now.
Yeah. No, I actually remember, all right, because I was in late elementary school through middle school for Dave Wanstead's years. And then I remember once it got to like the Cam Cameron 07 season, and then I'm a senior in high school then. And I remember thinking like, man, looking back at Dave Wanstead and how everyone was so down on him, and by the end it was like those were the last great consistent stretch, or not, but consistent stretch of teams that the Dolphins had, and it still rings true. I mean, you had the back-to-back playoff appearances, 22 and 23 here, but then it's just that's 2 seasons as opposed to from the late 90s through 02 and 03. They missed the playoffs, but they were just strong, complemented teams that had that elite defense. Things would happen to keep them out of the playoffs. They lost these close games, but yeah.
Wasn't enough, dude.
Right. They didn't have, that's with Jay Fiedler at quarterback. Right. Man.
He was decent, but he wasn't good enough to elevate the team that he had around him. But if you look at it, it's kind of twisted that Dave Wanstead, out of all these guys, he's the one that at least complimented his quarterback the best way possible. Whereas all the other guys have always lacked whatever it is, all kinds of stuff. O-line or running game or not enough receivers or whatever it is, disaster. Even the coaches, dude. It was like Norv Turner. It was Changeli. I mean, he brought in really good assistant coaches too on top of all of that. It was like, it gave your quarterback a fighting chance. And if that team actually had a quarterback, it could have made some noise, unfortunately. So it is what it is. All right, what do you got going on this Sentinel, my man?
Yeah, it was wrapping up game coverage, and I think I'll be writing about Minka's big play. We got him at the podium, so definitely going to write that up and touch on Devon Achane's season and put a bow on this one before the New York next week, and then New York is where I'll stay, and then North New Jersey is where we'll go for the game.
There you go. All right, follow him on Twitter at @GoodForonis_. And catch his work there at the South Florida Sun Sentinel. David, as always, thank you, my brother. Appreciate you immensely.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Welton Rayom, proud sponsors of our program, and, of course, the sponsors of that segment and why it happens every week, all year long. 954-966-4646. And so many people, unfortunately, are dealing with bankruptcy issues and homeowner property damage, condo damage, criminal defense, business owner claims, commercial litigation, personal injury. Call Welton Rayom, explain your situation. The consultation's free. They'll tell you if you have a case. You see a brown spot in your roof, you may have a leak. Don't call your insurance company because the adjusters they send aren't working for you. Call Welton Rayom. They have their own adjusters. So if you live here in Florida, call them 954-966-4646. They'll send their adjusters. They will assess the problem, and then they will attack the insurance company on your behalf. You never even have to deal with the insurance company. That's a beautiful thing. All you're going to do is pick up a check at the offices of Welton Rayom. 954-966-4646.
This has been another session of the Welton Rayom Miami Dolphins Report with David Furones. At Welton Rayom, they don't get paid unless you win. They handle complex personal injury claims caused by the fault of another in both state and federal courts. They handle auto, trucking, motorcycle slip and fall, and bicycle accidents. Call 954-966-4646. Welton Rayom can help.
Smash the hell out of the like button. Por favor. Smash it. Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That is Cash Big O Show. Cash App or Venmo. And you can make a Bitcoin, Ethereum, Chainlink, or Solana donation as always. And we appreciate that. Thank you all out there. When we talk about key decisions, you got to make some key decisions in a game, right? So let's get to our Slowmans key decision of the game.
What was the deciding moment? Who made the right move? Where did the game change? It's the Sloman's key decision of the game. Make the smart decision to protect your home and family by calling Sloman's at 1-800-ALARM-ME, serving Americans for nearly 100 years. Here's our Sloman's key decision of the game.
You know, it's when it comes to the Miami Dolphins, it's really hard to find key decisions because when we talk about Mike McDaniel, he doesn't make a lot of key decisions. And he, by the way, failed in another challenge. Thought he had a chance at winning that one. I thought, hey, we're going to celebrate. He's going to win one. Nah, he loses again because he's terrible at challenges. He doesn't make a lot of key decisions. But I got to reach here a little bit. Okay, at least he decided to give it to Devon Achane 20 plus times because that's one of the reasons why you won. Clearly, the defense was one of the reasons why you won. But Devon Achane, I mean, that performance today where he comes up with another 100-yard performance, 22 rushes, 134 yards, and a touchdown, a 29-yard run, too, on top of all of that, that's the key decision. You got to stay with Devon Achane no matter what because Tua is not consistent whatsoever. He's not reliable right now. McDaniel is not reliable. Sometimes the wide receivers, did you see them on the left side when they were bunched up? They're not reliable either. They can't run the right route sometimes. But there's one guy that has been reliable, and that's Devon Achane. No matter what, even when things are going bad, we can all smile that Achane is on the field and playing well and making us smile and enjoy ourselves because he is the bright spot of this entire season. So I am glad that he has continued with the run-a-thon that he's had over the last 5 weeks, and that's why they've won 4 of the 5 games. The only game they lost was to the Ravens because they got cute and they did not rely on the run like they should have. Today, 32 rushes as a team, 22 by Achane, 3 by Jalen Wright, 3 by Ollie, and 4 by Tua. Not that those were productive, but anyway, 32 rushes, 164 yards, and a touchdown, the one that Achane scored. That, my friends, is a key decision. Keep giving it to Achane. Without Achane, the Dolphin offense is absolutely lost. And without ShieldLink, you'll be lost too. We're in 49 different states. Call our friends at Sloman's, 1-800-ALARM-ME, and order ShieldLink. With one intuitive app, folks, you can control the lights, the climate, the door locks, the music, the blinds, the TV, just about anything and everything. From your couch, from your work, from your car, you're headed home, you want to cool down the house, turn on the AC. The dogs are in the house like we are, you know, and we, you know what? It's a little hot. Let's lower the temperature a little bit so the dogs have a comfortable atmosphere. Somebody's ringing the doorbell. Well, you can actually answer it. Find out who it is. Maybe they're leaving you food because they're getting there just before you are. Tell them, leave it there. We'll be there in a second. It's a beautiful thing, man. ShieldLink allows you to have professional-grade security monitoring with cutting-edge smart home automation. You're going to love it 24/7. And, of course, the service is second to none. Take it from me. I've had Sloman's in my home, and so has Sean, for many years. 1-800-ALARM-ME, and tell them that Big O sent you. Our key decision of the game, feed Achane.
Our key decision of the game is brought to you by Sloman's Home Shield. When you want to protect your home, family, or business, call Sloman's at 1-800-ALARM-ME.
All right. Let's get to it. And let's get to our EJDconstruction.com Miami Dolphins postgame report with the one and only Chris Perkins.
Time to go to the locker room, Miami Dolphins fans. Let's find out what's percolating with the one and only Chris Perkins in our EJDconstruction.com Miami Dolphins post-game report.
All right. Perk, it was ugly. It was an ugly hoedown.
Yeah, but Big O, there's no style points, fortunately, right? The NFL playoff committee does not give style points. So so it's a good win by the Dolphins, but it was ugly. It was ugly, Big O. When you have to hold on against the New Orleans Saints, it's ugly. But look, you've won 3 in a row. You've won 4 out of 5. Devon Achane continues the ball for you. The defense continues to make key plays. The defense isn't, lock them down, shut them out good, but they can make key plays. We saw it a couple of weeks ago in Spain, right, with Jack Jones making the interception. We saw it today with Minka. We saw it today with the 4th down stop on 4th and 1. So, look, it's a formula that's good enough. We'll worry later about whether it's good enough to beat Tampa or good enough to beat New England or even good enough to beat Pittsburgh on Monday night. Pittsburgh doesn't look that great, but the Dolphins struggle in December road games and they struggle in prime time games. Who cares, Big O? Enjoy this now and keep feeding Achane like you said.
Yeah, no, keep feeding him. There's no doubt about that. I mean, listen, you got to get the victory. They got the victory. It was ugly. I get it. But this is who they are, unfortunately. And Weaver doesn't have shutdown talent. If he had shutdown talent, then we can demand it. But I think it's a second year in a row that you give him a defective defense and he finds a way to make it productive. And to me, that's coaching, dude. When they give you Whiteside and James Johnson and Tyler Johnson and you find a way to go 31-10, that's fucking coaching, bro. That's a guy that, okay, this is what I got. Let me make the best of what I got. And he reminds me of that scene from A View to a Kill where Roger Moore is at this at her house. I forgot the woman from that 70s show. That he's at her house and she's nothing in the fridge. Like a beer and like an olive and like something, and then 5 minutes later, 007's baking a souffle, and it's like, and she's like impressed, like I had nothing in my refrigerator, and you just made a souffle. And she's banging him right there and then, obviously. So that's what I'm talking about. That's coaching. And Weaver, you gave him a defense with no pass rush last year. You give him a defense with no secondary this year, and he just finds a way to make it serviceable. And to me, that's what a coach is all about, bro. If you give that guy upper tier talent, look out, dude.
Yeah, and you know what? And I like, once again, with this defense being resourceful and making some key plays, right? We saw Minka cause the fumble that Zach Sealer recovered, right? So they're not going to shut you down and lock you down. And, this isn't an old Baltimore Ravens defense that's really going to impress you and that's got, Pro Bowl talent all over the place. This is a bend but don't break defense. Sometimes it does break. We saw that today a couple of times where they broke. But they can make key plays. And, if that's what you have to do to survive, then that's what you do to survive. We saw Chop Robinson do a couple of things today. Bradley Chubb do a couple of things today. So, as a collective, that's how this team wins. Maybe Jordan Brooks gets to the Pro Bowl. Jordan Brooks should get to the Pro Bowl. I'm not sure that anybody else on this defense is deserving of going to the Pro Bowl. Now, Minka has had a good year. He's made a couple of plays, but my point is they are better as a unit than they are as individuals, right? The sum total is greater than the individual piece, and so that's how they survive.
Minka, forget about Pro Bowl or whatever. What Minka has justified was that trade was the bomb for the Dolphins.
Yeah.
They knocked it out of the park with that trade.
Yep.
So that's what that Minka move really paid off for them, because there's no way the DB does what Minka has done so far this year. In fact, he's played like shit for Pittsburgh, so, I got to give
Ramsey.
That's really what it's all about. The only guy, you're right, is Brooks that deserves to go, to the Pro Bowl. That's it. Now, okay, I got to ask you this, because this is human nature. You go through life, you have your trials and tribulations, you last year. I'm wondering now because the movement. He was never a mobile guy as it is, but he looks even more stiff. He quickly gives into sacks. I don't see a guy playing the same kind of edge that I saw 2 and 3 years ago. Your assessment?
I think Tua might have too much going on in his head. He might have too many thoughts, too many voices. When you consider the voices of Mike McDaniel, the head coach, Frank Smith, the offensive coordinator, Bobby Slowick, the senior pass game coordinator, and then also Darrell Bevel, the quarterback's coach. And then you consider the two messages that Chris Greer and Mike McDaniel pounded in his head in the offseason. Either throw it away or slide, but we can't have you getting injured. And all of this stuff is going through Tua's head. You don't have Tyreek. You don't have Darren Waller. Your offensive line is kind of sketchy. There's a lot. Look, and I'm not making excuses for Tua. This is why you got paid, 4 years, $212 million, right? Because you should be able to solve problems like this. You should be better than this. But the reality, Big O, is the guy's got a lot going on in his head, and I think that has as much to do with what we are seeing from Tua as his physical limitations. He's always had the physical limitations, but it wasn't always Tua, do not run the ball. We need you to be healthy. You've either got to throw it away or you've got to slide. But I think it takes away some of the natural instinct of Tua. We know how competitive Tua is. Tua's not a good runner, but I think every time he drops back, it's like, okay, progression 1, 2, 3. And now it's like, well, I can't run. I've either got to throw it away or I've got to force the ball somewhere. I think Tua's whole order of thinking has changed this season. And I think that's a lot of what we're seeing out there is that he can't be instinctive. It looks like he's thinking, like all these thoughts are going through his head pretty much every play. To me, that's a big part of what's holding Tua back this season.
Yeah, because he kept New Orleans in the game today.
Yeah, he did. He did. He threw the one interception, and then he had two others that could have, I won't say should have been intercepted, but could have been intercepted. And So, Tua's got to be better. Now, he did have the one pass to Julian Hill that was dropped. He threw it behind him.
No, that's
when you're in the NFL, you got to catch that ball a little bit.
You got to catch that, but here's the thing. You're throwing to Julian Hill. You're not throwing to nifty catcher.
You're right.
So, Tua, dude, your MO is ball placement. Your MO is accuracy. Bubba, you're throwing to a guy that you got to help him. You got to lead him. You got to put it there. If it's Darren Waller, I'm a little bit more pissed at Darren Waller. I'm a little bit more pissed at Waddle because those guys are more athletes. But Julian Hill is not really, he's pretty agile for a big guy, but he's not a nifty ball catcher. So keep it in front of it. Keep it simple for a guy like that. I count on Tua to be smarter in that play with ball placement. But his ball placement, said was open.
Mm-hmm. Sure was.
It was open. Like the Waddle one deep. I don't know why they keep doing that stupid shit because that's not Waddle's game anyways. If that, like I've said before, if that's Chris Chambers, Mark Clayton, or Arande, I'm throwing that ball. I'm good with it. I'll take my chances with high point guys. But he's a space player, not a high point player. If I don't see Waddle past the defenders, I'm not throwing the ball, dude. I need to lead Waddle, not put it up in the air in a fight because he's never going to win that shit. You know what I mean? But today, Tua was off on a bunch of passes. It wasn't just one or two. It was several that he was off and ball placement was bad. And I just wonder when I watch him, I don't know if it's a lack of concentration or whatever it is, the passes he's missing are passes he normally never misses. And like even the Hill one, that's not what he throws behind, dude. That's when he throws right on target. So something's not right with the kid.
Yeah, something is not right. And again, it just looks to me like he's thinking that he's lost his instinct. He's lost his reaction. It's, here's what I'm supposed to do. He looks almost mechanical out there. And you know that this isn't the Tua that we saw in, 2022, 2023, or even last year when they went through the dink and dunk offense after he came back from the concussion. He looked smoother, more natural. And it just looks like he's got a lot going on in his head out there right now.
Yeah, it's not good, man. The Achane thing, obviously the team MVP. That's what you guys will vote at the end of the year.
Yep.
He'll be the team MVP. But I was just talking with Furones about this. Dude, he's on the brink of being one of the all-time single-season rushers because Ricky owns the top 2 spots. And he won't get the top one at 1,800, but he's going to have a shot at being the number 2 rusher of all time. Like 1,000 yards ain't shit in a 16 or 17 game season.
Right.
1,000 yards in 12 games for a guy like that in an offense that right now isn't really a great pass offense. That makes it really impressive.
It does. And I talked to Achane during the week on writing him today. I asked him, have you thought about the contract extension? And he said, yeah, I have. How can I not think about it? That's my future. And, you don't want Achane to get to the point of I'm going to bet on myself like Christian Wilkins and like Rob Hunt. And then at the end of the 2026 season, the Dolphins are going, well, we can't afford him. Like he had another, 1,600 yards from scrimmage, and now he's priced himself out of the market. Somebody has come along and offered him more money. I hope the Dolphins secure him after this season. And I'll tell you this, I might have told you this before, Big O. I think a couple of things that really stand out to me about Achane, he's gotten more durable as his career has gone on. You remember as a rookie, he got ragdolled a couple of times, had to miss some games. Last year, he got the concussion, but did not miss a game. This year, he hasn't had anything like that. And I asked him about it, and I was like, Devon, nobody gets a solid shot at you. You know how to angle your body and everything. And he said, yeah, that's my job. I'm not supposed to let people get a solid shot at me, that I'm supposed to know how to angle my body. And that's what I've been doing. That's what I've been working on. And I said, the other thing is that Eric Studesville, the running backs coach, said that he noticed even in training camp, you're always falling forward this year. And Achane said, yeah, I'm stronger than people think, but it's not a factor of where guys are going to hit me and knock me backwards. I'm going to take the hit and I'm going to keep going. I think that's very impressive for a guy who weighs 191 pounds, Big O, that you are moving forward and you haven't missed any games. You haven't missed any practice time. Wrap this guy up, lock him up. I know that the running back shelf life is short. And I know that after 3 seasons, he might peak in seasons 4 and 5, but at least have him for seasons 4 and 5, right? Don't let him go peak for Buffalo. Well, they just signed James Cook, but you know what I mean. Don't let him go peak for somebody else, whoever. Don't let him peak with the Dolphins. So hopefully they will sign him to the contract extension at the end of this season, because Achane has been nothing but good for this team. He's carrying the offense this year. Again, when Tyreek and Darren Waller go out, this team doesn't turn to Tua or Jalen Waddle. It turned to Devon Achane, and Devon Achane has delivered for them offensively.
Yeah, it's been impressive what that young man's been able to do, and to be able to stay durable like that. It's awesome. It does have the Warwick Dunn gift. Yep. Where Warwick Dunn, you just didn't get clean shots on him, and Barry Sanders was too. They were the Mayweather of running backs. Like Sweetness would seek contact. You know what I mean?
Right. But Marshall Faulk was another dual threat that, you just couldn't really get a good lick on him. That the dude knew how to angle his body, and he was quick enough and strong enough that, he could avoid the direct contact. And by the way, Furones might have told you, when you talk about Dolphins backs with 1,000 yards rushing in 12 games, he's the 4th one, joining Larry Zonka, Delvin Williams, and Ricky Williams. 12 games, 1,000 yards. Achane is on that list, so very impressive for Devon Achane.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that year for Zonka was a 14-game season, not a 16.
Yeah, I think right. It's 1972, so it might have been a 12. It might have been 12 or 14, but he did it in 12 games. Yeah,
No, I think it was 14
through 12
because they went 17-0 with the playoffs. So yeah, it was 14.
Yeah.
Days. They stopped 12 in 1960.
Yep, there you go. Okay.
The NFL stopped 12. I gave Furonis the nugget. Do you know how many running backs leading up to 1960, which was the last year they played 12 games a season, how many running backs went over 1,000 yards?
Leading before 1960?
Yeah, from 1960 down, they only played 12-game seasons. How many running backs did they have go over 1,000 yards during all those years?
Jim Brown? Not many. That's the only one I would say off the top of my head.
Wasn't Jim Brown. It's only one guy called the Jet. One man. 1960 rushed. The Jim Brown stuff was in the 900s.
Interesting. Wow.
Yeah. Until 1960, only one running back rushed for over 1,000 yards.
Wow.
So that is crazy. Now, again, have a couple already over 1,000. It's not anything in the AFL in the 70s. Plenty of running backs went over.
Yep.
I'm just like going like back in the day just to have a little fun, just to kind of bring it into perspective.
Yeah.
Achane, 1,000 yards in 12 games, man. That's
in the passing era. That's special.
Yeah,
that's special.
Special. McDaniel's game today, again, kind of a spotty coach game again, right?
Yeah. I mean, I guess there was some clock management stuff that I would have preferred that they tried for the touchdown there at the end of the half. You had enough time if you clock it, but he clearly didn't plan on throwing it into the end zone or trying anything like that. I think, what were there, 28 seconds left or something like that, whatever it was. And I was kind of surprised that they didn't try anything there. I will say this, I know you're talking about McDaniel, a quick tip of the hat to Riley Patterson, though. This is an offense that only scored one touchdown, and then you had Minka with adding 2 points, but Riley Patterson, I believe, with 5 field goals, does that add up? 9 plus they had 21, so 4 field goals. Yeah. So he did a good job. But yeah, there were some McDaniel calls that he didn't lose the game for them, and he wouldn't have lost the game for them. But I would have liked to have seen them be more aggressive in certain spots. Yeah, definitely before halftime.
To stick more with the run than Tua that is not very sharp at times. Also losing the challenge, which I thought he had a chance to win actually, but he loses another challenge. It's just a reminder game that he's not the guy. And I hope they do what you've been saying, that clean house already. Let's go.
Yeah. I did like that he handed it to Ollie Gordon on 4th and 1. Now, Ollie got nailed for, a 2-yard loss. Right. And I have to look at the replay, Big O, because I know that he bounced it outside. I know that they had Alec Ingold, and they motioned him, to either the A gap or the B gap, kind of, right there. But Ollie didn't follow it. And I know there was a pile of humanity there. So I don't know if there was not a hole. I don't know if Ollie should have pressed it a little bit more up the middle, or if he did the right thing, bouncing it outside. But at least Mike McDaniel, I'm glad that he did give it to Ollie Gordon as opposed to Achane. I know Achane is the man, but this is why Ollie is on the team.
But not like that. I want
not like that. Right, I agree.
Skill, you pound the shit out of it. If you can't get a yard, then forget. If you're gonna be that, if you want to do this, you can't be the finesse team every single time, dude. And if you're gonna run that play, then run it with Achane, then, because he's the only guy
and
take off and get to that corner. Do it with the right guy. I love that. Right away in the game, we saw Jay Wright, and so what's happening with that? Why not more Jay Wright? Why not more Ollie? Let's pound with those guys, loosen it up a little bit, and keep hitting them with Achane. Plus, when your quarterback is off the way, Tua was, and you're playing against the 29th best run defense, bro, it's staring you in the face.
Yeah, the pretty much your big threat from New Orleans is what we saw, that pass rush, right? With Jordan and Chase Young, and I can't remember the other defensive end's name. That was the threat. Other than that, it should have been a green light offensively. And again, I have to go look at that play, that 4th and 1. Did Ali do the wrong thing? I like the play call. You had Ingold in there, you had Ollie Gordon in there, you gave it to Ollie Gordon, but yeah, I would have liked to have seen Ollie go straight up the middle as opposed to trying to bounce it outside. I've got to, see if Ollie made the right choice, but I will commend Mike McDaniel on the thinking and the actual play call there.
All right. What do you got going on the Sentinel so folks can check you out?
I'm writing Achane today, that they need to pay this man, that he's done a good job. Later on during the week, I'm planning on writing a Jack Jones feature. Jack is supposed to get his jersey in the Hall of Fame next week for the interception in the Madrid game. It's the first interception in Spain, so the Hall of Fame wanted to display his jersey. But, Jack is just an interesting guy, just from, his relationship with Snoop Dogg, his relationship with Bill Belichick, who he told me Bill probably hates me, but he values playing for Bill Belichick. So, I want to call it You Don't Know Jack. And just talk about Jack Jones, because he is an interesting guy. He's a guy who, when you talk to him, Big O, there's going to be a lot of 4-letter F and S words, but that's just Jack Jones. That's just part of talking to Jack. He's a lot of fun. I've also got a feature on Butch Berry, the offensive line coach, that I want to write up. So I got a couple of things in the hopper this week. We'll see how it turns out.
Follow him on Twitter at Chris Perk. Perk, we will catch up next week after the Jets game, my friend. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Works. All right, Big O. Happy holidays to you.
Got it. Happy holidays. There you go. The great Chris Perkins. And, of course, Eric, proud sponsor of our platform, EJD Construction, for many, many years now. And a lot of you have called him over the years. I mean, we had a listener a couple years ago had a fire and had to remediate the entire home. EJD Construction was able to do that. We had another listener about 6 months ago, I think it was, build a second story in their home. EJD Construction can do that and many other things. So if you're looking for a custom home construction, major home remodeling, and by the way, they are fully insured, all right, what's called liability and workers' comp. So whoever's working on your property gets injured, they will not sue you. They cannot sue you. They're fully insured. And if you don't call EJD Construction, whatever company you do call, please make sure they prove to you that they are insured, because if not, you could be inheriting a problem. So just looking out for you. 305-433-4843, Dade and Broward County. No condos, by the way, just homes and businesses. He doesn't do condos, but major home construction, major home remodeling, custom home construction. They can do it all for you. 305-433-4843.
You've been listening to the EJDconstruction.com Miami Dolphins post-game report with the Sun Sentinel's Chris Perkins. For additions, home remodeling, and custom work, call Eric at 305-433-4843. EJDconstruction.com is the custom home builder and contractor you can trust. 305-433-4843.
Let's see. Gordon bounced it outside because he saw the hole was closed. It looked like there was a pile there, but you got to find a way to pile it right through, bro. You're not the back that can just cut and take it to the outside and all that. Go with the play. Go with the play and try and push that pile, and the offensive lineman go, it's 1 yard. You got to try to get it, bro. You got to try to get it. That was a bad play. He's not the back for that. It's not that he can't get away with it every once in a blue moon. Sure he can, but that's not really what you want Ollie Gordon. You want Ollie north and south. You don't want him east and west. That's what you want to do to Derrick Henry. Sure, Derrick Henry can stop, cut, and maybe he'll turn the corner on you. But if you make Derrick Henry stop and go left or right instead of straight, you won. You won. Okay? That's what you want to do with big backs. Make them go sideways. Up the middle, why'd you add the extra lineman? Why'd you have the fullback in there? Bro, punch it. And if you can't get it with those guys, shame on you, dude. Terrible. They need to cycle through the QBs on the roster to see what they've got as soon as we're mathematically eliminated. A white man from town, that's not going to do anything. You think Quinn Ewers is going to bail you out, bro? Please give me a break. Quinn Ewers is a kid that's got the potential to be a backup quarterback, not a starter. So it's Tua or nothing, and that's it. Just play it out till the end of the season and either get rid of Tua or go through the bullshit of having to go through a dead year next year with him there, which doesn't make any sense. But the other guys are not going to do anything for you. Okay? Achane is a McDaniel guy. He drafted him. He's making him. McDaniel, unfortunately, is going to be back next season. Well, and we'll have another shitty season, So it is what it is. I will always root for the Dolphins. I hope that McDaniel and Tua turn it around this year. A win is a win. I can't believe that there's so much negativity around a team that has won 4 out of 5 because they're terrible, Orlando, because they're not going anywhere. You can lie to yourself and you can say the hopeless crap about, I hope McDaniel and Tua. That sounds like a fan that's completely uneducated. That's what you sound like, Orlando. That's your name? You've got my name and you're that uneducated? I mean, let's not make excuses, bro. It is what it is. McDaniel's not going to get any better, and neither was Joe Philbin, and neither was Cam Cameron, and neither was Sperano or whoever. They're not getting any better. They are who they are, and Tua has reached his pinnacle already. He's now on a decline now, is the way he's playing. So they're not bailing anything on. This talent isn't good enough. It wasn't good enough from the offseason. So the best thing they do is cut bait with everyone. All coaches, all personnel, all quarterback, and move on. That's it. You've reached your pinnacle with all this stuff. You have players you can keep, but you need to move on from everything else. That's silly to be thinking, maybe they'll turn it around. That silly, hopeless fan thing. Just that stuff doesn't work, dude. Never has, and it never will. So I get it. You may need it in order to keep yourself interested in the team. So that's why you do it, Orlando. But the reality is the Dolphins are what they are, and they're a bad franchise. So we just got to hope for dumb luck in the offseason that the old man hires the right person. It is what it is. Oscar Ross says Tua's having hip problems. He has a degenerative hip, and it got worse last year after the Texans game. It's been downhill since. The kid Biggers is a player. All of them. Phillips is playing well. Biggers is playing well. Grant. They're all getting better. The draft class is actually pretty good. Dante Trader has played well. Savania's gotten better. So that draft class might turn out to be a pretty good draft class for the Dolphins down the line. So it is what it is. All right, folks, we appreciate the great Sean Stanley. We thank David Furonis. We thank Chris Perkins. We appreciate all of you for tuning in. Those of you that hit the like button, thank you. If you didn't, please hit that like button. We'd appreciate it immensely. And any of you that made donations, Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show, or you sent in a super chat, thank you. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Same time, same place, same bat channel.
You've been listening to our Dolphins post-game show with Big O. The broadcast is brought to you by Welton Rayome, Acura of Pembroke Pines, Hialeah Park Casino, RM Contractors, Toyota of Hollywood, Haineswear, Sloman's Home Security, BigCheeseMiami.com, EJD Construction. The broadcast is mastered by executive producer Sean Stanley. Thank you for supporting the platform and our fantastic sponsors. Go Fins!